My dearest children of the light, there are secrets that transcend the veils of time, mysteries that whisper forgotten truths through the hallowed halls of the Vatican, and today I reveal something that may completely transform your understanding of the universe's messages sent directly to your home. Have you ever found a moth inside your house? If so, stop everything you're doing right now, because what I'm about to reveal may explain spiritual phenomena you've experienced and not understood. What you believed to be mere coincidence is, in fact, an ancestral calling, a coded message that ancient peoples recognized as one of the most powerful communications between the visible and invisible worlds. Since the dawn of humanity, when our ancestors walked closer to divine mysteries, moths were recognized as sacred messengers, bearers of secrets connecting our souls to infinity. In the lost scrolls of early Christians, in the Gnostic texts the official church preferred to bury in the depths of oblivion, we find clear references to these winged creatures as symbols of the deepest spiritual transformation. John, the beloved disciple, in his uncanonized mystical writings, described visions where moths appeared as spiritual guides, leading souls through the darkness of ignorance toward the light of divine consciousness. But why has the Vatican never openly spoken about this? Why have these teachings been kept secret for centuries? The answer, my beloved, lies in the revolutionary nature of this truth. Recognizing that the divine communicates with us through seemingly simple creatures means accepting that each of us has direct access to the sacred, without the need for intermediaries or institutions. It's a truth that empowers the individual and awakens awareness of our direct connection to the cosmos. In Celtic traditions, which preserved wisdom predating institutional Christianity, moths were known as souls of ancestors, returning to guide their descendants at crucial moments in their lives. The Druids taught that when a moth entered a house, it carried memories of past lives, unlearned lessons needing integration, and spiritual guidance for important decisions to come. It was considered a sacred event, a moment when the veil between worlds thinned, allowing divine messages to flow freely. In ancient Egyptian tradition, a civilization that mastered the mysteries of the afterlife like no other, moths were associated with the god Khepri, representing transformation and rebirth. The hierophants of the temples of Isis taught that these creatures carried on their delicate wings the secrets of spiritual metamorphosis, the process by which the human soul transcends its earthly limitations and achieves higher states of consciousness. When a moth appeared in the homes of initiates, it was interpreted as a sign that great spiritual transformations were approaching. But let's go beyond ancient traditions and delve into the present spiritual reality. When a moth appears in your home, it's not just lost or seeking light. It's responding to a specific energetic frequency you're emitting, a vibration of your soul that resonates with the higher planes of existence. Its presence indicates you're undergoing a period of spiritual transition, even if you're not yet aware of it. You may be questioning truths you once accepted unquestioningly, feeling an inner calling for profound changes in your life, or experiencing synchronicities and intense dreams that seem to carry important messages. The location where the moth appears in your house carries specific meanings that mystics have decoded over the centuries. If it appears in your bedroom, especially near your bed, it indicates that profound transformations are happening in your subconscious during sleep. Your dreams may be more vivid, you may be receiving spiritual visits during the night, or experiencing spontaneous awakenings at specific times, moments when the spiritual world tries to communicate with you. This is a time when you should pay special attention to your dreams, keeping a journal by your bed and writing down everything you can remember upon waking. When the moth appears in the living room, the social heart of your home, it signals that important transformations are coming in your interpersonal relationships. People may leave your life, others may enter unexpectedly, and you may discover truths about relationships that will completely change your perspective. It's a time to honestly assess who truly belongs in your sacred circle and who is merely occupying space that should be devoted to more authentic and elevated connections. In the kitchen, the space of nourishment, the presence of the moth indicates that changes in your relationship with the physical body and spirituality are approaching. You may feel impulses to change your eating habits, be drawn to purification practices, or discover that certain foods no longer resonate with your evolving energetic frequency. Some mystics interpret this as a sign that spiritual fasts or specific diets may accelerate your awakening process. If the moth appears in the bathroom, a place of cleansing and renewal, it's announcing that a period of deep spiritual purification is beginning. Old thought patterns, repressed emotions, and ancestral traumas may emerge to be finally released and transmuted. It's a powerful but challenging time, as it requires you to confront shadowy aspects of your psyche you preferred to keep hidden. Now, pay attention to the moth's behavior, as each movement carries a specific message. If it flies in circles, it's showing you that you may be stuck in repetitive patterns that hinder your spiritual growth. It's an invitation to break vicious cycles and embrace new ways of being and existing in the world. If it lands on you, especially on your hands or shoulders, it indicates that you are being chosen as a channel for higher energies. Important messages may come through you to other people, and you may discover intuitive or even mediumic abilities you didn't know you possessed. A seemingly lifeless moth, yet still present, carries one of the deepest messages. It represents the need for symbolic death, the end of a phase of your life so a new one can be born. Do not fear this symbol, for spiritual death is always followed by a more glorious rebirth. It may mean that old beliefs, relationships, or even your current identity need to be left behind so your true essence can flourish. But you may be wondering, how can I be sure I'm not interpreting signs where there are none? How to distinguish between a common insect visit and a genuine spiritual message? The answer, my dear child of light, lies in synchronicity and repetition. A single moth might be a coincidence, but when they start appearing repeatedly at specific moments in your life, especially when you're going through important questions or challenges, then you can be sure you're receiving divine guidance. Let me share the testimony of Mary, a follower of our teachings who experienced something extraordinary. During a period when she deeply questioned her career and felt she had lost her life's purpose, moths began appearing in her house daily. At first, she ignored them, but when one gently landed on her open Bible, precisely on the passage about spiritual renewal, she understood she was receiving divine guidance. That same week, she received an unexpected offer to work at a charity, which completely transformed her life and brought the purpose she had been seeking. Today, Mary works helping vulnerable families and considers those moths as angels that guided her to her true calling. The second testimony I want to share is from John, a man who had lost his faith after a series of family tragedies. For months, he isolated himself from the world, questioning God's existence and the meaning of life. On a particularly difficult night, when he was considering giving up on everything, a white moth entered his room and remained perched on his desk throughout the night. By morning, it had disappeared, but John discovered a message written in the steam on his bathroom mirror. Words he hadn't written. "You are not alone." This led him to seek spiritual help, and today he is one of the most active members of our community, dedicating his life to helping others going through faith crises. These testimonies show us that the universe never abandons us, even in the darkest moments of our journey. Moths are constant reminders that transformation is possible, that we can always be reborn from the ashes of our difficulties as more beautiful and conscious beings. And here, my beloved, I need to pause in our journey of discovery to make a special invitation. If these revelations are touching your heart, if you recognize in your experiences the signs I'm describing, don't let this wisdom get lost in the vastness of the internet. Subscribe to our channel right now. Turn on the notification bell, because we have much more to reveal about the mysteries that the universe whispers through the small signs of everyday life. Every like, every share, every comment is a way to keep alive this flame of ancestral knowledge that so needs to be preserved and transmitted. Together, we are a spiritual family that mutually strengthens each other in the pursuit of truth and the elevation of consciousness. But let's return to the secrets of moths, for there is still much to be revealed. The color of the moth that visits your home also carries specific meanings that were decoded by ancient sages. A white moth represents spiritual purity and connection to angelic realms. Its presence indicates that guardian angels are near, offering protection and guidance. It's common for people who receive visits from white moths to begin noticing benevolent presences around them, feeling protected and supported even in the most challenging times. Brown or earthy moths symbolize connection with Mother Earth and ancestral wisdoms. They appear when you need to reconnect with your roots, honor your ancestors, or seek healing through natural practices. You may feel impulses to spend more time in nature, study indigenous traditions, or uncover family secrets that have been kept hidden for generations. Dark moths, especially black ones, should not be feared, despite many traditions erroneously associating them with bad omens. In fact, they represent the dark aspect of transformation, the need to embrace and integrate parts of ourselves that we reject or deny. They are messengers of the dark goddess, an aspect of the feminine divinity that governs the mysteries of death and rebirth. Their presence indicates that you are ready to confront your inner shadows and emerge more complete and authentic. Colorful moths with vibrant and complex patterns are rare visitors that appear only to souls who are close to great evolutionary leaps. They carry specific light codes, frequencies that activate latent spiritual gifts. If you have had the privilege of receiving one of these visitors, prepare to discover talents you didn't know you possessed: clairvoyance, energy healing, channeling, or other abilities that can be used to serve humanity. Now, I will reveal something that may sound dangerous to some, but it is a truth that needs to be said. Not all moths that appear in our homes carry positive messages. There are entities from the lower astral plane that can manifest through these creatures, especially when our vibrational frequency is low due to hatred, resentment, vices, or negative spiritual practices. Moths that repeatedly appear dead, that emit strange sounds, or that provoke feelings of fear and discomfort may be signs that negative influences are trying to approach. But do not fear, for I will also teach you how to protect yourself and how to transform even these visits into opportunities for spiritual growth. The ritual I will share now has been passed down through generations of Christian mystics and has the power to purify any negative energy while amplifying positive messages. When a moth appears in your home, regardless of its appearance or behavior, the first thing you should do is stop all your activities and consciously acknowledge its presence. Say aloud, "I acknowledge your presence, sacred messenger. If you come in the name of light and love, you are welcome. If you carry densities or messages that do not serve my highest good, I release you with love and ask that you return to the source to be transmuted." Then light a white candle and some lavender or white sage incense. These elements purify the environment and create a high frequency that allows only loving messages to manifest. Sit in silence for a few minutes, observing the moth without judgment or expectations. Allow your mind to quiet and pay attention to the first impressions, images, or words that arise in your consciousness. Ask yourself these sacred questions. What aspect of my life is asking for transformation? What old patterns do I need to leave behind? What new self is wanting to be born? Don't force the answers, but allow them to emerge naturally from your inner wisdom. The moth will remain present until the message is fully received and understood. When you feel the communication has been established, thank the messenger with these words: "Gratitude, sacred messenger, for the guidance received. May your presence be a blessing to this home and to all who dwell here. If it is time for your departure, go in peace. If it is time to stay, you are always welcome." Keep the candle lit for at least an hour after the ritual, and in the following days, carefully observe the signs and synchronicities that will manifest as confirmation of the messages received. But there is an even deeper aspect about moths that needs to be revealed. In the esoteric Christian tradition, specifically in the teachings of Hildegard of Bingen, the great medieval mystic, we find references to the butterflies of the soul, ethereal creatures that take the form of moths to visit us during periods of intense spiritual evolution. According to her visionary writings, these entities are aspects of our own soul that have already transcended earthly limitations and returned to guide us through the awakening process. This means, my dear ones, that when a moth appears in your home, you may actually be receiving a visit from your higher self, from an evolved version of yourself that exists in higher dimensions of consciousness. That's why many people report feelings of familiarity or deep connection when they encounter these creatures. It is literally a meeting with oneself, a communication between different aspects of one's own essence. This revelation leads us to a completely new understanding of our spiritual nature. We are not limited beings confined to a physical body, but multi-dimensional consciousnesses that exist simultaneously on different planes of reality. Moths are bridges between these different versions of ourselves, messengers carrying wisdom from our most evolved aspects to help us navigate the challenges of earthly existence. The ancient initiates in the Orphic mysteries already understood this truth. They taught that the human soul is like a moth that has gone through multiple metamorphoses, and that each incarnation is a new phase of its evolutionary development. The moth that visits our home is a reminder that we are beings in constant transformation, destined to transcend our current limitations and reach ever higher states of consciousness. But there is a real danger I need to warn you about. In the modern world, with all the electromagnetic pollution from our devices, with the detachment from nature and the disconnection from our spiritual roots, many people have lost the ability to correctly interpret these sacred signs. They see a moth and immediately think of pests, dirt, or household problems. This materialistic attitude completely blocks the possibility of receiving spiritual guidance, creating an energetic barrier that prevents communication between worlds. Worse still, some people, influenced by distorted superstitions, kill these sacred messengers, mistakenly believing they are protecting themselves from bad luck. This is a serious spiritual mistake that can bring serious karmic consequences. Killing a moth that came with a divine message is like destroying a letter sent by the universe itself. The consequences can manifest as spiritual blockages, difficulties in receiving higher guidance, or a gradual withdrawal of angelic protection. Therefore, it is essential that you treat each moth that appears in your home with the respect and reverence it deserves. Even if you don't immediately understand its message, treat it as a sacred visitor. Open windows and doors so it can leave when it wishes. Offer sugared water in a small container if it seems tired, and always thank its presence before it departs. There is also an important temporal aspect to moth visits that few people know. The time they appear carries specific meanings that have been decoded by esoteric numerologists. A moth that appears at dawn, between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., brings messages about new beginnings and opportunities that are approaching. It is a time of energetic renewal when cosmic forces favor positive changes in your life. During midday, between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., moths appear to bring mental clarity and problem solving. If you have been confused about an important decision, or if you feel lost about the next steps on your journey, a daytime moth is a sign that enlightenment is coming. Meditate on your questions right after the encounter, as the answers will manifest more easily. In the afternoon, between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., moths carry messages about relationships and social life. It may be that important changes are approaching in your love life, that you are about to meet significant people, or that current relationships will undergo profound transformations. Night moths, which appear after 9 p.m., are the most mystical of all.
They carry messages from the invisible realms, guidance on your life purpose, and revelations about mysteries that your soul needs to understand. These are ideal times for deeper spiritual practices, such as meditation, contemplative prayer, or the study of sacred texts. There's also an extremely rare yet profoundly significant phenomenon, the appearance of moths during lucid dreams or altered states of consciousness. When this happens, you're receiving direct spiritual initiation. The dream moth is a gateway to higher dimensions of consciousness, an invitation to explore uncharted territories of your soul. If you've had this type of experience, know that you've been chosen for a specific spiritual mission. Write down every detail of the dream, as they contain coded instructions about the work you must undertake to serve the elevation of human consciousness. Many of history's great mystics and visionaries reported similar experiences. But now, my beloved children of the light, we arrive at the most revolutionary and transformative aspect of this entire teaching. What I'm about to reveal may shock some people, as it directly challenges certain beliefs established by institutional religion. Moths aren't just messengers or symbols. They are literally fragments of cosmic consciousness that temporarily materialize on our plane of existence to remind us of our true divine nature. Each moth carries a specific light code, a vibrational frequency that resonates with particular aspects of our soul. When it enters our home, it's actually depositing this frequency into our energy field, activating dormant spiritual energies that have been waiting for the right moment to awaken. That's why many people report profound changes in their lives after encounters with moths. It's not just symbolism, but a real and measurable energetic transmission. Modern quantum science is beginning to discover what the ancients always knew, that consciousness is the fundamental force of the universe, and that it can manifest through any life form, no matter how simple it may seem. Moths, with their ethereal nature and capacity for transformation, are perfect vehicles for these manifestations of cosmic consciousness. This leads us to a completely new understanding of our spiritual responsibility. If moths are manifestations of universal consciousness, then our attitude towards them directly reflects our attitude towards the divine itself.
When we honor a moth, we are honoring the creative force of the cosmos. When we disregard or mistreat it, we are rejecting opportunities for growth and spiritual connection. Therefore, I invite you to make a sacred commitment with me at this moment. Promise that, from today onwards, you will treat every moth you encounter as a divine emissary, worthy of respect and reverence. Promise that you will remain open to the messages they bring, even when your rational mind tries to convince you that they are merely coincidences. Promise that you will share this wisdom with others, helping to awaken the collective consciousness to these sacred signs that constantly surround us. And here we come to the end of our journey today, but this is only the beginning of a transformation that can completely change your life. Moths will continue to appear in your home, but now you possess the keys to decode their messages and fully utilize the guidance they offer. You are no longer a passive observer of life's mysteries. You are an active participant in the cosmic dance between the visible and the invisible. Remember always, nothing, absolutely nothing, is a coincidence. Every moth that crosses your path is a confirmation that you are loved, protected, and guided by the universe. Every encounter is an opportunity for growth, a gateway to higher levels of consciousness, an invitation to embrace your true nature as a spiritual being having a human experience. If this message has deeply touched your heart, if you have recognized in your experiences the signs I've described, don't keep this wisdom to yourself. Share this video with loved ones who might benefit from these teachings. Leave a comment sharing your own experience with moths. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to understand a message they've received. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on all notifications, as I have much more to reveal about the mysteries that surround us. In the next videos, we'll explore other signs that the universe sends through nature, the spiritual meaning of finding feathers along the way, the hidden messages in dreams with water, the secrets of numerological synchronicities, and much more. Until our next encounter, may moths continue to visit your home as constant reminders that you are infinitely loved and eternally guided by cosmic wisdom. May each beat of their delicate wings echo in your heart as a whisper from the Creator Himself, saying, "You are not alone, my child. You have never been alone. The light within me greets the light within you." Until next time, spiritual family.